Hello, baddies. I want to start this video off saying that this is part 2 of my recap of the Traitors episode 5 with Katurah Topps. If you have not listened to or watched on YouTube part 1, I would suggest you pause, go back to part 1, and then get to this video. Alright, that's all. And here is part 2 of my recap with Katurah Topps.
All right, we're going inside, and Bergie's a little excited. Bergie's a little new here. All right, so he immediately is like, I got the shield to Kevin, which oh sweet Kevin, it's like. Yeah, sure. These two would do this.
Exactly.
But to be fair, Janelle goes up to them and she shuts it all down. She's like, we're not telling anybody.
Yep,
and he takes that seriously.
And I love that.
Alan asks who has the shield, and Janelle's like, we're not doing this today, Alan. He was just like, oh, okay.
Which I thought that her saying that, the way she said it, I thought that would make the heat on Janelle go down, because she said it like, to protect the faithfuls, we're not saying. And I was like, honestly, if I'm a faithful, like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the only like, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt very, of course a faithful is gonna say we're not gonna make sure everybody knows this. A traitor would want everybody to know, because then whoever gets murdered, the suspicion could be, throughout anybody.
I swear these people are spinning out. They're not using their heads anymore.
Wanted her to say that at the round table. Like, did you not remember today? Like, I'm the one that made sure these shields aren't known. Just like any extra credit. But yeah, okay.
Nope, they could not give it to her. So next, Peter is carrying out this plan. Oh, by the way, when Janelle was like, oh, I'm refusing to give that information, I don't know if you watched Phaedra's face, but her poker face slipped a little. Because she was like, she likes to do.
She's so cute.
Very cute. But that face is like.
It's her little like puckering lips kind of thing. Yeah. Like,
and that would have immediately been like, oh, she really wants to know where that shield is. But she was also in the front. So I'm like, we see it because of the camera.
Yeah.
Dang.
Good catch. You're right. Because we did see it. They kind of almost made a point that we could see it. Like, it was pretty obvious from the viewer's perspective, but I didn't even think about it as like, ooh, is this her slipping? I just thought it was like Phaedra being reactive to everything.
Yeah.
So maybe people interpreted it that way.
Maybe. So Peter lies to CT, saying he got the shield, hoping that the target moves. So he's like, I'm suspecting CT. Then he tells the same thing to Dan, and then he tells the same thing to Parvati. And he's like, and it's so cute, because it's like, it really is a good plan. And because I watched him on The Bachelor, I kind of don't want to give it to him.
Oh, I was like, Peter, great. I love this plan.
Part of me was like, I don't want to give it to him. And he's so proud of himself. I could just tell. But I'm just like, yeah, it's a good plan.
He deserves it, Nicole. Give it to him. Even if he was messy before and picked the girl and let her go and picked another one, this was a good plan.
All right, I'll try to forget. So Janelle tells Kevin, MJ, and Bergie that Dan is a traitor, because traitors don't need to do anything. And that's basically what he's doing.
Yeah.
Kevin pointed out that he listened to her last time, and Larsa was not a traitor. And she's like, I know, but like, I really am feeling this theory right now. So MJ, of all people,
shocked.
I'm giving her, I haven't done this before, but she's the misguided faithful of the week.
Oh, I like that. I think that's accurate. I was very shocked.
so shocked. She immediately leaves that conversation and goes to Dan. I'm just, Sandra, Sheree, and she's like, Dan, Janelle is gunning for you. Sheree immediately. Sheree is such a housewife because she said, I thought that was your girl.
But honestly, is it MJ being misguided, or is this an opportunity where Dan actually was playing well? Because I noticed, I think MJ was talking to whoever initially, and Dan wasn't in that conversation. And they were like, we need to find a private space. And then that's when Dan walks up with someone else. And then they're like, okay, let's all go into this private space together with Dan. And that's when she tells him, I feel like he just did a really good job of being like, oh, I'm here. Oh, yeah, let's go talk. And like join in with that. Now, granted, she did tell him. So like maybe there's already a relationship there.
Tell him for some reason. I don't know what work he did on MJ or why, but it's like, okay, so MJ's from Bravo. She's Shaws of Sunset. Maybe it's just like Tamra's gone, you know, Larsa's gone. Yeah, maybe it really is just like Janelle pushed this on Larsa and now I just want revenge.
I also think Janelle is just like I'm a little shocked at how boisterous she's being. And I feel like when you're the biggest, loudest voice in the room and you now have power, like people keep saying Janelle has the ability to say it's so and so, and then people go and believe that and write that person's name down. You can only get away with doing that so many times and being wrong.
Yeah.
Because even if it makes sense, right? And I wanted Janelle to be like, guys, statistically, it's going to be like 2 or 3 faithfuls and like 20 of us, or 2 or 3 traitors and like 20 of us faithfuls. Like, of course, we're going to get it wrong over and over and over. Like, that's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not an indication that I'm a traitor, but I just think that she's too big and too loud and too powerful that people are going to be like, well, shoot, you led us astray before. Now you telling me again? Now, you know what I mean? I almost feel like people were comfortable with getting rid of Janelle, even if they didn't fully believe she was a traitor.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're like, she's so convincing. We do want to listen to her, and therefore we have to get rid of her.
Yeah,
we're not getting the results we want right now from her.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's always been kind of Janelle, I think. Like, she's never won, and I think that's part of it. I think she speaks her mind. Her big thing is that she held records for competition wins. So her going for the shield every time is very much Janelle. And yeah, people love Janelle for her competitiveness and good television, speaking her mind, but she's not known for winning.
So she's almost like complete opposite of Dan here.
Yeah.
Where she's doing too much, too loud. And I mean, this is, if there's no this isn't competition really. You know what I mean? So if that's her strong spot, yeah, that might be why she's gone.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So we finally hear, because Alan said at the beginning at breakfast, he's like, "Ooh, I have a treat for you guys. I've been holding on to something." And what's the treat? Kate Chastain.
That was my favorite moment of the episode. I was like, Kate! Kate is back! This is huge.
It is huge.
She looks so good.
So good. So Kate, we see her at home. They do a lot of build up for this, and she gets her letter, and she opens the letter, and she was just like, "Oh, I'm a faithful." It's like they said repeat last season.
I know. I was actually a little sad for her too, because I can imagine if I'm Kate, I'm thinking I'm coming back as the secret player for season 2. I'm coming back as a traitor, right? It just feels like that would have been it for her.
So she finally enters the picture when Alan slams down the chair at the round table.
Yep.
And then she comes in and she gets to vote, but it has to be based on everyone's argument. So they need to bring in their lawyer.
Yeah.
for these arguments. Kevin starts. I don't know who turned up Kevin. What happened?
He got a little confidence.
From what?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Did you hear him being like, I need to be able to talk uninterrupted and I'm like, okay.
He was doing so much.
Doing the most.
So much. So he's sitting there and he's like, well, I accuse Janelle. You know, there's just a trend of people suspecting her. And by the evening, she rallies votes against someone. And then we're not talking about Janelle anymore, which would be a good case if it wasn't with everything else Janelle has done.
Yeah, it's like the argument is just like we thought about Janelle before and then we never revisited it.
Yeah.
But it's not like there was an underlying reason of why we initially thought about Janelle. That is a valid reason that looks like a traitor.
Yes.
Because just calling out people and being wrong really isn't an indication of you're a traitor.
I agree. And then Bergie, everyone's getting a little bit more confident as the days go on. Because Bergie came out of nowhere and he's like, first of all, Janelle throwing out names and creating chaos, like the traitors obviously want to keep her around because that's what she's doing. She hasn't been murdered for that. And it's like, Bergie, why are you making so much sense?
Yeah, I was gonna say I loved it. I was like, this is a great argument, and I kind of wanted Janelle to jump on that and be like, yeah, absolutely, this makes the most sense. Yeah, and she just kind of was quiet around that point.
I mean, and this is what my instinct would be, because like you probably won't believe me, or I'm in the hot seat, so it's like, yeah, let someone else.
Yeah, good point.
Argue. It's just it really does depend. Like, I'm still so curious of what Bergie's social stature is. Because before, no one was listening to him. Then he helped out with that grave mission, and now he's Bergalicious.
Yep, I was gonna say, I remember when he was doing that grave thing, everybody was like, oh, Bergie, oh, this is your time. Like, and I feel like he's now at a higher ranking because they don't really show anything, but they keep showing people say, we think Bergie could be at risk. Yes. Like, I feel like he, and even him was like, I need to go for the shield. It must be. So I'm like, somewhere somebody is saying it. We're just not getting the full visuals of it.
Yeah, and Trishelle, I think it's very telling that Trishelle was his partner, because like I think Trishelle is pretty insulated.
So, okay, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So John chimes in, our politician, and he says Kevin isn't consistent or as like Janelle. So he's like, maybe you can be a traitor, which is like, no traitor. But yes, Janelle is
it's like Kevin's not a traitor because who would trust that? Who would trust Kevin with traitor status?
They're not doing that. So Peter, he's like, let me turn this conversation back to where we need to, because remember, he is in Dan Hunter
Club.
and Peter's like, no. So Dan, there has to be at least one male traitor. Yeah. And out of all the guys, my dude, you are the most suspicious because you've done the least. Dan tells Kate that he likes to wait and find reasons. Kate has done her research, boo-boo. She was like, don't play with me, because she said, and you win. So.
Yeah, I love that. And honestly, I feel like Peter's argument about Dan was the most logical thing that was said at the whole table. Like, of course, there's got to be one guy traitor. We know that. And there's only a few guys left. And Dan is the only. I was like, ding, ding, ding. Like, it made so much sense. I was angry that people weren't jumping on board with how logical it was.
I know.
It's pack mentality, though.
Janelle, she repeats that Dan has never given a name. And, you know, Dan's like, oh, I'm playing like I did in Big Brother. And he's arguing like he can use his winning skills for the faithful.
Such a bad statement. Such a bad statement.
Like, I don't know how they didn't see through this. And then Trishelle joins in and says, Dan, if you are faithful, you are bad.
Yeah.
A bad faithful, because you don't help the group.
Yeah.
And so, Janelle's like, give us a name. Give us a name. When he fixed his lips, he said, say Janelle, I was like, get him out of here.
Yeah. I was like that 2 seconds before he said Janelle, because as soon as he was like, oh, I'm playing the way I did in Big Brother, I was like, the show you won? Like, is that your example? I'm playing like the way I did when I won a show over everybody else. Like, that was such a bad thing, because it immediately draws my mind back to, you've played a show, you've been cutthroat, and you won it. And then when he said Janelle, it was kind of like, you've gone all of this time, you haven't said anybody's name, and now the only name you're going to come up with is the one person who's the most vocal against you. Obviously, that's it. Like, it just felt like Dan not going home and them not all being like, oh, he must go immediately, was just a huge drop. Like, everybody dropped the ball there.
It's so bad. It's so bad. So we got to vote. But before we vote, Janelle and Sandra have been back and forth.
Yes, right?
You're a traitor. No, you're a traitor. No, you're a traitor. And I'm like, did we devolve to like 5 years old?
I know. And then it was, I guess it just was shocking. Like, who called who a bitch?
Yeah.
Was it Sandra or was it Janelle?
I don't remember. So
I was like, what? What? It just escalated in like 2 seconds. I was like, where is this coming from? And honestly,
they don't like each other. They do not. It's a personality clash.
Oh, is it? Okay.
When Janelle was defending herself, she's like, I know, I'm loud, I'm boisterous. They cut to Sandra, and Sandra was like,
like, yeah, you are.
It's just a clash of personalities, I think. So it just came out in that last bit.
I knew that Janelle had no hope, though, or at least her odds were going down when they were like, who do you think is the traitor? And she named Sandra and CT. And I was like, that was not neat. Like, you caused this unnecessary thing. And I was like, even if she doesn't go home tonight, you now just started beef with Sandra. Sandra's gonna get you. Like, there's you're not coming back from that.
Yeah. She needed to stick to her name. Just
say Dan. He was the only one else on the table. And it would have been like, oh, she's so consistent about this one person to where even if she leaves, then people would say next, wow, she was a faithful. Let's look at Dan again.
And then also, it was very weird because Larsa Pippen did an interview with Entertainment Weekly, and I also wrote about it on Collider. And Larsa was like, oh, Janelle was very jealous of my screen time. And Janelle tweeted and was like, this is hilarious to me. I voted you out because of this, and this, and I would never vote out CT. But now we see that in her last moments, she threw also CT's name out. So I was like, what's the truth? I'm very confused.
Also, I love that there's this extra drama that's happening. When Larsa got voted out, like Janelle was tweeting about it and stuff.
Yes.
This is good. Maybe I'll take a page out of that book.
Right. So in the end, the votes come down. It was close. I was stressing. I was like, Phaedra, this is your time, because they were ready to do it to you.
Oh no, it couldn't have been. I thought about that a little bit, but I was like, she can't. Like, it would be too extreme, and I think it would have been the wrong time. I'm so glad she didn't.
Okay.
And look, it would have not even worked too. Like, even if she voted for Dan, they would have all had to go back together.
At this point, doesn't Phaedra have some pull? Like, we're talking votes are 6-4. She can't get 2 people?
I think she can. But I think the time for it is before the round table.
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, once you're already at the round table, whatever names have been the names of the day, those are only the few that are going to be happening.
Janelle, at the end, she was voted out.
Yeah, sad.
So I know a lot of people are like, dang. Because Dr. Will of Big Brother, who's another Big Brother legend, he's coming up. And they were like, wow, so we don't get to see Janelle and Dr. Will together again.
What do you mean he's coming up?
So apparently he's coming up to appear in the show. As part of a mission. I don't think he's going to be a player like Kate.
Oh, that's cool.
Burgalicious almost flipped a table like he was a New York house or a New Jersey housewife.
I love that. Everybody was shocked and he was just pissed. I think Bergie's level is just rising. I think this is about to be a big season for Bergie.
Yep. So, and then Dan, I can't believe him. Dan is like, oh, well, I redirected the votes.
I know. Dan, this is not you. I mean, Janelle served herself up as bait. Like, come on. Like, she really did. This is clear pack mentality.
Like, other people had their suspicions. They're mad that Larsa was actually a faithful. So they were already on that. Kevin and MJ, they were just already against Janelle. Like, it had nothing to do with you. I'm just like, Dan, are you Delulu?
Yeah. I think so. And it felt very cocky too. I mean, I think that's why I'm having a hard time like rooting for Dan, because I don't know him from Big Brother the way everybody else does. And I'm just like, every time he takes credit for something that he thinks is a good move, I'm like, I don't know if that's happening the way or at least the read isn't the way I'm pulling it up. Like,
it's really not.
Janelle was clearly a major, huge threat. Like, you still have heat on you. And not to jump around, I know you're going to kill me, Nicole, for doing all this jumping, but if it turns out that Dan freaking tries to murder Bergie and Bergie is safe, I literally like let Dan go. He deserves it. Get him, banish him.
I was going to say the same thing. I was like, if they don't just let him go, just cut this.
It's time.
He's on the edge of the cliff. Just give him a little.
And he's not even trying. I mean, I think somebody said even after the votes are read and like everybody's, living life afterwards. And I think it was Bergie who was like, I still have your name on my chalkboard or whatever.
Bergie said any day, anytime.
I love that. And then Dan was like, they were like, so you really need to start thinking about a name, which is already like giving him way more the benefit of the doubt than most other players would have, because you've already told him 100 times to come up with the name. And then he says, I'll have one in the morning. What the hell?
Yo. Okay, you said so much. Because this is actually an article I'm going to write about Collider. But why does Dan get so many chances?
Nicole, you can read through my lines?
Like,
I love that.
Like, what? No one else. Peppermint couldn't just
Exactly.
But how many times do they need to ask Dan, and how many times does he need to just fuck it up?
Yeah.
And they're still
anybody else, he would have been gone already, because you only need a little bit of slip here, slip there, and then people will take that and run with it. You mean to tell me that like pretty much the entire house has said to him multiple times, you need to come up with the name, and he still literally never does? And the only time he ever said anything was when he named Janelle, who was gunning for him at the round table.
No creativity.
None. Blatantly obvious.
Feeling upwards.
Exactly. Literally, exactly. And you know that only happens to one demographic.
We're literally watching it. It's so tiring. But anyways, as you say, so Kate afterwards, she's like, oh, I'm kind of sad I didn't mean Ikensu. They talk about the whole poisoning. Why did Kate immediately say, who would take a drink from Parvati?
Girl, as soon as it happened, I was like, and this is why I love Kate. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna need Kate.
We're finally at the end. The traitors, we're at the turret. Parvati says, woo, traitors. Dan says, we're not doing well. We?
Yeah.
Who is we, Dan?
There was only one name hot tonight, Dan. It was you.
Like Delulu all over.
But Phaedra corrects him too. I think she's like, yeah, your rules ain't working. Like, you need to come up with something that will actually work, something that's actually logical. And I'm like, thank you. Like, clearly this is not working.
It's not working. And I don't know why he's just like, it has to work. It has to work. And like, if it doesn't, well, it's on all of us. And it's like, that's wild. That's wild because no one has Phaedra's name in their mouth.
Yeah. But I feel like if I'm one of the other two traitors, I'm almost like, yes, Dan, get it together. But I'm kind of like, go ahead, weak link. Like, go ahead and get out. Because they're going to need some traitor blood soon. And honestly, people will feel, spirits will be high when Dan goes home.
So Phaedra and Parvati, like you said, they're like, give us a name. And he said, oh, I'll sleep on it. Release it. Or Phaedra was like, dang, he's doing it to us. So.
And I'm like, what is that? What does that mean, though? Like, is he afraid? Is he like, I don't want to say a name and then it backfires? I'm trying to be.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Because all you have to do is just pick a name that already has heat around it.
Exactly. Oh. But I think he literally has one thing, which is at the beginning, I'm quiet. He's like, it's literally episode 5, probably day 5. And he's like, no, I don't play until it's like episode 8.
Okay, like, that makes sense. I can respect that too.
But it's just like adaptability. It's obviously not working.
Yeah, you gotta
change. Phaedra says this, and it unhinged a deep memory for me. So she told Dan, she said, you better get it together or you're going to have to get your suit ready because if you're playing like this, I'm going to be embalming you myself. This unlocked the memory that Phaedra actually worked in a
funeral home. Yeah, I know.
I was like, I don't even know if they know what just happened.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
And yeah, that's why I'm like, and it's so funny because again, it's like when people like underestimate the Real Housewives and they're just like, ooh, Parvati Black Widow. It's like, yes, Parvati Black Widow, but also Phaedra actually works with dead bodies. So like, it's not like a cute nickname. She's like
actually embalm you.
Like she will do anything for money, and that includes dressing your body and putting it away. So
damn, that got dark.
Dan gets defensive, and he's like, "This is not my first rodeo." Phaedra was like, "Yeah, don't act like it because they're on to you. They know it's not your first rodeo."
And how do you not know this, Dan?
Oh my God! So the traitors discuss how Peter told Dan and Parvati that he has a shield.
Yeah.
And Parvati's like, oh, he's definitely lying because why would he tell you, Dan? Dan!
Instant Black Widow. Parvati, like, look how fast she picked it up. How did you see that?
Dennis, he believes his own mist because like that's a Big Brother term. Is like when someone's misting you and like you first you're like, oh, I want to target you, but the minute you're like in a room alone, they come out and they're like, actually they're the best ever and I want to target someone else. I think he believes he got the mist and that Peter's under it. And it's like, no, Peter's very suspicious of you, actually. So he doesn't think Peter's so savvy. Parvati says to be safe, they need to pick someone who was inside because of the shield. And, Dan says he needs this murder, guys. And it's like, oh, what is it about Dan this episode that's literally giving child? Like,
it's giving man, honestly.
But it's like
very similar at times.
It's my turn, guys.
Yeah. But in such an obviously wrong way. Like, that's why I was so shocked, because when he even said, I need this, I'm like, why though? This isn't like, if you're saying I need it, then that means you're saying I'm going to make a tactical move that's going to take the heat off of me. And then the move you're suggesting is something that is directly going to put heat on you and Parvati, because Peter also told Parvati. And so I'm like, I'm hoping this is the Traitors giving us a cliffhanger, and like the editors making us think something's going to happen, and like it's actually not Bergie, because this would be the dumbest murder of all time.
Look. So in the end, the names that this man throws out that they talk about. So we got Bergie.
Yeah.
And then
he does look different than Peter right here.
Yeah, very different.
I know.
But Dan's like, I know that you're close to him, and Phaedra's like, oh, my Bergalicious.
Again, look at Phaedra's connections all around.
Parvati is like, well, maybe John, because John's just like probably like Tamra. No one's gonna put up much of a fuss. So they say that the safe choices are John, MJ, and Sandra. Well, you know what? I think it's because they were all inside. I think that's what they're going by.
Right.
They're like, Bergie's risky. Everyone else here is safe.
When I saw Sandra was going to be in this season of the Traitors, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to see Sandra. But we don't get that much Sandra.
No.
So
I think she might be, I think Sandra's playing the game Dan's hoped.
Yeah. There you are. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think you hit it perfectly. Yeah.
If he picks Bergie, it's not gonna work. So that is where we left off. Now, every recap, I try to ask, what is a beautiful Black moment of the episode? Do you have one?
Oh, I got so focused on the other one that I didn't even think about the Black one. I just feel like anything Black, a beautiful Black moment, my brain instantly is just going to go to Phaedra.
Yeah.
And be like, what did Phaedra do this episode? Like, what was, honestly, that's what it is. It's going to be Phaedra's masterful manipulation, I guess, or like being able to like get in every little group. Like, she really is involved in every little group. Random people, like, why is Phaedra saying Bergie's her Bergalicious? You know, it's like, how did that happen? When did they connect? And it's something random, and Bergie's probably feeling equally as strong about her. And they was like have this bond. I just love that she's able to really adapt and connect with everybody in the game. It doesn't feel like there are many people that like would be like anti-Phaedra. Yeah, what's yours?
I think her bringing up maybe the embalming, because it really did hit me.
That's good.
I just, it was like, that's so Raven, except I'm going into the past, and I was like watching the episode at her funeral home, and I'm like, what's going on with this woman?
Damn. That's very specific.
It's so specific, but that's literally what happened to me. Do we have a chaotic bye moment of the episode?
Something involving Parvati. What did she do this episode?
Was it the beginning with Phaedra?
Wow. Very nice, Nicole. Very, very nice. Yes, it was how she, because I almost want to give Parvati the credit for how that chaotic moment from last week smoothed over. It almost, like, I honestly was expecting Phaedra to hold it a little bit longer and to feel more bothered about it, because I was holding it a little bit longer. But I feel like Parvati did a really great job of kind of diffusing it and really acting as if she had no idea the impact that she was making, right? And I was like, yo ass knew damn well the impact of what you were doing. But she does kind of have that sweet, we love poverty energy. And like, if I was doing this, I am so sorry. I had no idea this was happening. Please, Phaedra, you pick the next person to go home. Totally, everything's all on you. And now she's like, and I'm going to make it with Phaedra. And I'm hoping, if I know them both the way I think I do, nobody forgets this.
Exactly.
It's not forgotten. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't. I wouldn't. But that would be my chaotic vibe moment. It's poverty. Honestly, both of them. It's just like both of these women are fantastic and able to just like we're watching it in real time. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna actually not do a poverty moment for the chaotic vibe.
Controversial.
I am going to pick Phaedra and CT having their moment outside. And like, even when I was looking online to see what people had to say about the episode, Gia Worthy, who also podcast, tweeted and was like, why was Phaedra saying so silly, like seductive? And it was like, it was.
It was. So
giving like CT, like, first of all, CT's a grown man. These are two grown people. CT could be married for, I don't know this man's life, but it was just giving like, I was like,
see, I didn't even pick up on that. I just feel like she's always giving dripping honey molasses energy.
Yes,
slow
absolutely.
And thick and sweet and rich.
I think randomly flirting on the job, which was totally how I passed the time at so many past jobs.
I was gonna say, it sounds like there's stories here.
Exactly. I think that's a chaotic buy at work. So,
I respect that. I respect that. I like that. I like that moment. Do you genuinely think that Bergie's going home? Honestly, I'm hoping it failed. I'm hoping it failed. I'm hoping all fingers point back to Dan. I hate to say I'm rooting for anybody's downfall, but I'm kind of rooting for Dan to go and get out.
He doesn't get any more chances. He doesn't get it.
And like, I also want to know who he's going to come up with. Well, what's the name? What's the name that you have to go home tonight and sleep on it before you could possibly even begin to say it?
Yes. We'll see. Katurah was so good talking.
Oh my God, that was way more fun than I realized. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything on my notes. Oh, my last line on my note says, if Dan murders Bergie, he deserves to go. That's literally the last thing I wrote. So interesting. Oh my God, I can't wait till next week.
Me too. All right, Katurah, where can people follow you?
They can follow me first and foremost on my YouTube channel, which is in baby stages right now, but it is blossoming and growing, and I'm so excited. It's like my newest project. On Instagram, I'm just at Katurah Topps. On Twitter, I'm at Katurah Topps. On YouTube, I'm at Katurah Topps, and Twitter at Katurah Topps, and then Instagram is Oak Katurah.
Such a good name.
I mean, I had to. I mean, right? Like, Katurah, like,
yes.
I had to. And at the time when I created that Instagram handle, I was like a fashion expert at a like clothing brand, and it just felt like, you know what, this just works. I can't give it up.
Yeah. Ooh, I did not know that. I love learning things about you.
Nicole, we have so much to talk about. I've had 18,000 lives by now. So yes, we can always talk.
Yes, of course. For me, I'm Nicole Weaver. You can please follow Black by Reality across all the socials. We are also growing, loving it, and yeah, gonna continue our Traitors series. We're gonna talk about Love is Blind soon with Quita Tinsley. Hopefully we'll get interviews. And then we are talking about Couple to Thruple.
Oh, what's that?
It's gonna be on Peacock and you're already on it. So
really?
Yeah. Couple to Thruple are supposed to be these monogamous couples who then cycle through and date singles to become a throuple, but I don't know if it's actually a relationship or just a threesome.
Oh, okay. Wow, Peacock is getting spicy.
Exactly.
I think of Peacock as my go-to network for The Office and
Yeah.
Parks and Rec. Like those, I literally had an ex one time like buy me just a Peacock subscription for a year because I was like, if you care about me, you'll let me be able to watch The Office anytime I want to because that's my comfort show. You know, it's like, oh, yes, it's gonna make me laugh. That is hilarious. I didn't know they were doing all that. Well,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
to know.
February is going to be very interesting. So there's going to be 2 hetero couples, 1 lesbian couple, and 1 gay male couple.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But, like, all of them
Exciting.
are inherently queer because it's like there's 3 people in the room, so.
Yeah. Well, I've done my fair share of thruples, and I'm going to tell you, it is a lot more work. So, if this is going to be thruples and recorded and on TV, I'm sure
Yes,
it's going to be really good.
yes,
The
yes, yes.
drama is inevitable.
Yes. Alright, guys.
Wonderful.
Of course, you're
This was
welcome.
so
Thank you for
awesome.
being here, and see you guys next time.
Bye. Thanks for having me, Nicole.
You're welcome.